Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And some of you probably thought about starting your very own sports podcast. Well, let me help you out. I want to tell you a little bit about Anchor. Now, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's an easy way to make a podcast, and it's free. You don't have to worry about paying a bunch of money each month. There are creation tools to allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So it can be heard on apps like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So go to anchorfm.com and start your very own podcast today. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Hey, this is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and I want to take a minute to tell you about POW Audio. Now, POW Audio is going to change your listening experience. You're probably asking yourself, TJ, how is POW Audio going to change my listening experience? Because POW Audio has a revolutionary design, delivers a crystal clear and powerful sound in a collapsible Bluetooth speaker. That's right, collapsible Bluetooth speaker, and is designed for ultimate portability. So check out facebook.com, search POW Audio, or on their website, powaudio.com. That's POW audio.com.
One more time.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and welcome to the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate you taking the time out to be a part of the podcast. And the reason I decided to do a show on this Saturday, if you're listening to it or watching it on a Saturday, is because I feel like I owed you all a mulligan. Last night, we did a podcast. I had a special guest, Everett Garner, from the Baddest Sports Show. He was a part of the State of the Saints podcast, and we had ourselves a little bit of a debate. But we also had a lot of technical issues. And not to mention, man, it was one of those episodes where I really didn't feel like I was interacting with members of the Who Dat Nation, and that's something that I take very, very important, very, very seriously. I take it very, very seriously. So this edition is dedicated to everyone in the Who Dat Nation. I want to make sure that I'm answering questions. I want to make sure that that you all are involved in the show. So I think I would like to call this the Mulligan edition of the State of the Saints podcast. But thank you all for tuning in, and those that tuned in last night, thank you very much for bearing with me as we were dealing with technical issues, but we're back at it. And I want to say thank you all very much. The topic of conversation is, just to start things off, is going to be about Michael Thomas. According to Sports Illustrated, Yahoo Sports, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, they're all saying that Michael Thomas will not play in the Week 2 matchup versus the Las Vegas Raiders, which is not a surprise to anyone in the Who Dat Nation. I mean, everybody and their mom, they would have to agree that Michael Thomas shouldn't have been playing in this game in the first place. If he would have been playing in this game, I think we all would have been raising our eyebrows like The Rock back in 1997 at Sean Payton, because we would be wondering to ourselves, why is Michael Thomas in the game? You're going to need him down the line. So who is going to step up? That is what we're going to be talking about on this edition. Who is going to step up, and how will the offense change in the absence of one of the best wide receivers in all of football? But thank you very much to all of those in the chat right now as people are filing in. Thank you so much. We got Grayley is also in the chat, was first. Brian, Dalton, Chris, Brian Spears, Travis, Donovan, Jerry Poor is in the building. We got Robert Alvarez, Mike, Brandon, Tyra, so many others. I got Chemo in here. Caleb, thank you all very much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, this show is dedicated to you all, man. This is your show right here. As a matter of fact, I am going to go ahead and put the link inside of the description really quick. You know what I'm saying? Put the link inside of the chat real quick. So if you want to dial up, you want to be a part of the State of the Saints podcast, feel free to go ahead and, click on that link. I would love to hear what you all have to say, about Michael Thomas not playing in week 2. But there's also someone else who is not going to be playing in week 2, and that's Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport, for the second week in a row, will not be in the lineup. He is dealing with a elbow injury, which I don't understand, why. I mean, I don't know. I look at it this way. Look, I completely understand that Sean Payton likes to not put injuries reports out there, right? Because he looks at it as, him being competitive. I get it. I understand that 100. But at the same time, it makes the player look really, really bad because we don't understand the severity of the injury. An elbow injury, I mean, that can be so many things. But let's just say, for example, he's saying is an elbow injury, but he really broke or chipped something, that in his elbow or his arm or something like that we don't know about it. I think if he came out and said, well, Davenport broke his arm or, he having like swelling in his elbow or something like that, or something that, a staph infection or something like that, like we would understand that more than just on a report saying he got an elbow injury, because we're wondering to ourselves, well, why he just can't put no dirt on it, or why he just can't put an elbow brace on it and go play. So I understand it from a competitive standpoint. You don't want your opponent to know the severity of the injury, I guess when they're trying to scheme, you don't want them to know if that player is going to play or not. But it does make the player look bad in the process. So while you're looking out for the team, you're actually making a player look bad. That's just my honest opinion on that. But feel free to talk about Marcus Davenport too. But the question is, who is going to step up? Who is going to step up? Who is going to be that guy? We seen last week, Michael Thomas had 3 catches for 17 yards. Wasn't his best game in a Saints uniform. But it also gave us an opportunity to be optimistic this week, because we realized that the Saints can actually win a game without Michael Thomas being fully involved. We've seen Emmanuel Sanders score a touchdown. We've seen Jared Cook step up. We've seen Deontay Harris make a few plays. We've seen Taysom Hill doing this Swiss Army knife roll. We even seen a catch out of Traquan Smith, which, is very, very rare going into a week 1 game. So I think collectively as a group, I think this is the Saints' a big chance to show the NFL world that the Saints don't, have to go to Michael Thomas every single time. Michael Thomas is the sure thing. He is that guy. You throw the ball to him, he is definitely going to catch it. He caught the ball 81% of the time Drew Brees or Teddy Bridgewater or Taysom Hill threw it to him. He caught it 81% of the time. I understand, like 149 catches. I think the next person, next to him was Jared Cook. He had about 43 catches. So, I mean, he took up the majority of the targets for the Saints. But I do think that the Saints have an opportunity to not be as one-dimensional as they have been in the past. And it's going to be hard for a defense to be able to scheme against them offensively, because you really don't know who's going to get the football. You really don't know who Drew Brees is going to try to get the ball to. Who I feel like is going to be the X factor in this game. Look, I know we've called on this guy for several years. We want this guy to step up. We wanted this guy to be that dude. But I really feel like if you're going to trust somebody outside of Michael Thomas, it's going to have to be Traquan Smith. Because I know a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation really don't care that much for Traquan Smith, don't believe that he is that guy. But if you're looking at the wide receiver corps, he's the guy that has the longevity with Drew Brees. He's the guy that's been in the offense with Drew Brees the longest. So Drew Brees is going to have to depend on him a little bit more. Emmanuel Sanders, I feel like you can put a scheme around him. But at the end of the day, he's not going to know the playbook at this stage more than Traquan Smith. I want to welcome in Jerry Poor Jr., who dialed in. Jerry, how you doing, man? You're on mute right now. Let me unmute you. Well, you're still on mute, my brother.
I'm here, TJ.
Okay, I can hear you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, man?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, man. You know, I just wanted to see what you had to say, man. What you got to say about Michael Thomas or any other subject, man. Feel free.
Well, my thought on Michael Thomas is I'm glad they decided not to play him this coming week or the following weeks because you got to have common sense. I know he like to play and everything, and that's great, but at the same time, with that high ankle sprain, I don't see it happening, brother.
Right.
I just don't see it happening. So I'm glad. Go ahead.
Oh, now I was just going to say, Jerry. I was just going to say, Jerry. I'm happy that they decided to keep him out. That's all I was going to say, brother. Back to you, man. What you got to say?
Well, like you said about the wide receivers, because it's a good time for backups to step up. So now, now we got Emmanuel Sanders. He can take that number one role. And it could be him. It could be number 2. Traquan Smith at number 3. Benny Ford. I think he's gonna be number 5. I think Cal. No, number 5. Either one. But that's going to help Thomas' departure while we continue to play.
Right. Yeah, I caught a little bit of it, man. He was going a little bit in and out, but I mean, I understand like what you're talking about with your lineup. Me personally, I just want to see Traquan Smith step up because I just feel, in my honest and humble opinion, that he knows the playbook better than any other receiver on this team. I mean, rather you like him or not, rather you respect him or not, rather you feel like he's the guy or not, he is the guy that is more fully involved and embedded into this offense better than even Emmanuel Sanders is. And not to say that Emmanuel Sanders won't be able to step up and make plays. I mean, we've seen that in week 1. And we really don't know why, it took all the way to the second half, late in the fourth quarter, in order for Emmanuel Sanders to get involved. Maybe that was a chemistry thing. Maybe it was a connection between he and Drew Brees. But I do feel like going from week 1 to week 2, we start to see a little bit of a connection between Emmanuel Sanders and Drew Brees. But it's going to take some time and maybe a few more weeks for I feel like Drew Brees is going to be comfortable enough to be throwing the ball to Emmanuel Sanders consistently like he would to a guy where he knows who's been in the system since he's been a rookie coming out of Central Florida. So I want to see him step up. I want to see all these other guys that have opportunities. I want to see them step up. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to activate someone like Lil Jordan Humphreys or even someone like Marquez Callaway. So maybe some of these young guys can get involved in the game, maybe, a play or two, maybe if they're trying to stretch the ball down the field. But I just want to see something different. I don't want to see the same old song and dance that consists of Drew Brees checking the ball down all the way to Alvin Kamara every single time, or throwing it, throwing it like real close, to the line of scrimmage to Jared Cook. Let's try to open it up. Let's try to take advantage of the fact that the Raiders don't really know how the Saints are going to approach this game, and maybe even add a little bit of Latavius Murray more into the running game because now you have to depend on Alvin Kamara to catch the ball out of backfield a little bit more. And we all seen what Latavius Murray did on last week versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've seen him step up and answer the call. So, Jerry, you got anything else to say, my brother?
Not a whole lot, man. Just wanted to give you my take on who's going to step up while Michael Thomas is out for several weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Jerry, thank you so much, man. Call back in.
But I still want to say, I just wanted to say before I leave, I think the Saints going to be just fine without Michael Thomas because, like you said, you got a lot of weapons that can step up, and I think we're going to be all right Monday night. All we got to do is did like we did last week when we beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. All we got to do is start fast, score more points, play defense, play good offense, special teams, all that. We're gonna come. We can leave Las Vegas going 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely, Jerry, man. Thank you so much for your chiming in, man. I really do appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing the game, man. Thank you so much. You take care.
You too, TJ, the host of the State of the Saints podcast.
All right, take care, man.
You too, man.
All right, man. That's Jerry Poor Jr. right there, man. The OG of the State of the Saints podcast. Always in the chat, always tuning in, man. So shouts out to Jerry, man. Always holding it down for the Who Dat Nation. Let's go ahead and answer some of the comments here in the chat. We got Ren says, Michael Thomas' health is more important to us. We want him back at full strength. We have enough to make it through his absence. We did it without Brees last year. That's a very good point, Ren. And that's what you call a full combination of good coaching and a good roster. The fact that you can have some of your core guys go down and the team rises to the occasion. That's two things that happens right there. That's a good roster. That's good coaching. But I think I got to add one more just thinking about it. It's personality and pride. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to add a couple more in there because when guys know that a player goes down, they rise to the occasion. They become better. They understand that they have to do a little bit more. They got to be a little bit faster. They got to be a little bit stronger. They got to work on their tackling. They got to work on technique in order for them to compensate for what they lost. Michael Thomas being out is a huge blow to the New Orleans Saints offense because, the fact is he is the go-to guy. He is the number one receiver. So you're going to see a drop-off. But that doesn't mean that guys cannot go out there and make plays. That doesn't mean that guys can't step up. You want to see guys like Deontay Harris step up. You want to see guys like, Traquan Smith step up. You want to see Emmanuel Sanders be involved. You want to see Jared Cook, who was involved last week. You want to see those guys step up. And these guys have to answer the call. And they have to go out there and put on their best performance, man, in the absence of Michael Thomas. Even though I like Michael Thomas and a lot is being put on his shoulders, well, it deserves to be put on his shoulders. I mean, you're making $100 million. But some of these guys, man, there's still a lot of unanswered questions about them. I want to give a special shout out to Who Dat Davis. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, TJ, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. What you got for me?
I wanted to give you my take on this upcoming game with the Las Vegas Raiders and my take on Michael Thomas being out for several weeks.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been seeing a lot of back and forth between we're going to have a tough time, especially coming up with the Packers and Chargers. I've seen a lot of people not worried about it. My take on it is, what's the problem? Mm-hmm. Last year, everybody counting us out when Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara went down, when Jared Cook went down, I think 2 times out of the season. And the fact that we went 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater, and the fact that Ted Ginn was still able to make some plays when Michael Thomas went out, and they figured out a way to use more of Deontay Harris, I just don't see the problem. The thing with the Las Vegas Raiders is they have a very young secondary. I mean, very young. They didn't beat Carolina last week. They survived Carolina last week. So, and with Henry Ruggs being potentially out for this Monday, and they're going to be out, they're most likely going to be without their starting right tackle. Right. It's really going to be a strong defensive showing, especially with our front seven, with Malcolm Roach having a stellar game against Tampa Bay, creating pressure up the middle and creating 2 tackles for losses. CJ Gardner-Johnson leading the defense with I think 4 solo tackles and 6 total tackles altogether. So our defense is not a problem. Our secondary is still being held together by Malcolm Jenkins, 2-time Super Bowl winner and at the safety position. And it is already showing that he's having an influence over Marcus Williams. You can argue that his pass interference call was still Michael Williams of old, but it takes time for an influence like Malcolm Jenkins to really kick in. It's only week 2. So as far as offense is concerned, Emmanuel Sanders has been to the Super Bowl with 3 different teams. Last year, he racked up over 800 yards, 400 yards between 2 teams. So for people who are saying that he's not going to be an immediate impact guy, I challenge you to come at me with legit facts on why you think that. There's also other factors like Lil Jordan Humphreys, who has been in the system for long enough to know at least half of the playbook to not make any any careless mistakes. Deontay Harris, especially on special teams, that's going to be That's going to be the X factor in this entire game.
Right.
I can go on this tangent for like a hot minute, man. Like I've really been dissecting this, but people just need to slow the roll down. Sean Payton already addressed the fact that his play calling last week was absolutely abysmal. So you can expect it to be a lot more on his game, especially with Drew Brees and everybody else. Next man up mentality, and we know what the Saints can do when they have that next man up mentality.
Right. I mean, you made some great points with that. I just want to say I definitely agree with you on the Emmanuel Sanders take that you had. You know, you say he had 400 yards between both teams. I was looking at it from the fact that Drew Brees and the type of quarterback that he is. He's more of a guy who likes to focus on guys he has a rapport with more so than those guys that just coming in. And even though Emmanuel Sanders is a really good wide receiver, I think sometimes Drew Brees likes to go to people that he knows more so than the people that just came on. Because if you notice in that game on Sunday, I seen in the first half, I seen Emmanuel Sanders without a catch, and he was on the sidelines looking a little bit frustrated. And I think that was one of the main reasons why Drew Brees threw the ball downfield and double and triple coverage, trying to get the ball to him and trying to get him involved, because he was getting a little frustrated because I think Drew was kind of looking for everybody else but him. But I do feel like he is one of those guys that's a crisp route runner, great pass catcher, and very instinctive, player, being able to run in and out of his routes. And I'm not buying what the media is selling about Michael Thomas, because like I said before, when you have a good team, when you have guys that got pride, when you got guys that have that ownership of their positions, then I think you'll be just fine, man. But Who Dat Davis, thank you so much, man, for your comments. I really do appreciate you chiming in, brother.
Hey, always, man. I'll always be here. I got one more thing to say before I
go ahead. Go ahead, man.
For everybody who's going to be watching the game, I personally think you need to watch Tre'Quan Smith work in the outside. When he was brought into the Saints, he did a lot of work on the outside as a number one receiver or number two receiver. With Michael Thomas being gone and Tre'Quan Smith, I apologize, being in a make it or break it year this year, you can really expect him to take advantage of this Raiders secondary on the outside. I expect him to have 7 catches for at least 75 yards. That's my prediction.
Well, I mean, I hope that you're right. I think that him being on the outside helps him out a lot. I mean, that's what he did at Central Florida. He counted on his speed, taking the top off the defense. And that was his bread and butter in college. And I think by the Saints transitioning him to the inside, working the slot, because you had Ted Ginn Jr. playing outside, I think it kind of stunned his growth, because, I mean, he had to basically learn a different technique. He had to work on his footwork. And some guys are just not going to be that technically sound at the wide receiver position. This guy playing on the outside still has that speed and ability. I hope that you're right about these 75 yards, man. But thank you so much. I appreciate you chiming in. Thank you, man. Call back anytime.
Easy day.
All right. Take care. Who Dat Davis, man? Shouts out to him. We're going to go to Chosen right now. Chosen, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's good, TJ? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing just fine, man. What you got for me?
Well, yeah, man. Just like the last caller said, man. Shout out to him, man. I feel like we shouldn't put too much emphasis on the game planning on offense. We know what our offense did, last week without Michael Thomas being involved. Yes, true, he was there, and we wasn't expecting him not to have a big of an impact. And I'm guessing the defense, the Buccaneers defense probably didn't expect that either. But at the end of the day, he didn't produce like he normally do, and we still almost managed to put up 40.
Right.
So I feel like, man, we just need to treat this game against the Raiders how we treated when Drew Brees went down with Teddy Bridgewater. I feel like we need to just manage the game with what we have on offense, and everybody just, don't push the panic button, and let's just ride the wave of this hot defense we got coming out, man. Let's ride Trey. I know Trey Hendrickson ready to get back out there. The man tastes blood last week. He like a shark in water. He tastes that blood, and I'm looking for Cam Jordan. I'm looking for him to to bounce back and taste more blood, get more sacks. So I'm just pretty much looking for that defensive line, me personally, to just had that momentum roll over to the next game, man. I'm really looking for the defense to really show up next week. I pretty much think our offense is gonna be okay, game planning without Michael Thomas, and I feel like we're still gonna put up big numbers, and I feel like we're still gonna be able to move the ball and get in good field position where we need to be. But I think it's still gonna be mostly about a good defense we should prepare for. I think our defense gonna bring us home next week.
Right.
We seen last year when Drew went down and Teddy came, everybody stepped up because let's be honest, I don't think they had that much faith in them like we would have had in the Drew Brees. I felt like it was just insurance. Like Sean Payton be like, yeah, we got you, Teddy. And then turn around, look to defense like, look, I'm going to need y'all to, I know we got Teddy, but I'm going to need y'all to do a little something extra for me. You know what I'm saying? Just insurance. Like, he just had that insurance,
Right.
Just a little insurance, man. So I think we just need to keep that momentum rolling from week one, man. And I feel like we're going to be okay, man. Just let the defense come in, build up, get it hyped. And I think that's going to open up our offense more than Traquan stepping up and putting all that pressure on Sanders, man. Just let Sanders do Sanders. Let Traquan do Traquan. And let's just ride the wave of that defense because I feel like that defense is going to step up more than we can expect the big game from Traquan. So I'm just riding that defense wave right now, man. They hot right now. So I'm betting with that Saints defense, man. That's all I got.
Yeah, Chose. I mean, you make a good point, man. No doubt about it. I look at the Saints defense, and they're going to need a really good showing in this game. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you talk about the Raiders offense. You see Henry Ruggs went down. He's dealing with the same type of injury right now that Michael Thomas with a high ankle sprain. So this guy's your number one go-to receiver. Outside of him, you don't really have many other receivers. I mean, you have Waller, who's a really good tight end, kind of similar to Jared Cook, but their bread and butter is Josh Jacobs, the running back. So it's good that the Saints was getting pressure on Tom Brady. There was causing havoc and stuff like that. And it's very good that the Saints for the last 2 years have been one of the teams, one of the best defensive teams against the rush in the NFL, not allowing a 100-yard rusher in over almost 3 years, if not 3 years. So you're going to really have to battle out there in those trenches, man, because the Raiders are one of those teams that like to run the football. They like to set up the play action. And you're definitely going to have to count on the fact that Derek Carr is I know a lot of people may not care for him that much, but when it comes to the play action game, I mean, he does a really good job. He has a strong arm. He can get the ball where it needs to be. He's accurate at, his accuracy kind of comes and goes. But it's not like he's one of those quarterbacks that can't get the job done. So the Saints are going to have to get pressure on him, and they're definitely going to have to stop Josh Jacobs from getting at least 100 yards, and he can also catch the ball out of the backfield too. So this is going to be like one of the battle in the trenches, and also the Saints going to have to work on the time of possession to me, running the football. You don't have your star wide receiver out there, so you got to be playing the clock game in this matter. You want to make sure that you're going out there, running the football, controlling time of possession, getting the ball down the field, getting first downs, on third downs, converting. So if they can do all that, man, it don't have to be a 40-point showing or anything like that, like they almost put up against Tampa. But I mean, the object of a football game is to have more points than your opponent at the end of the game. So
correct.
So all they got to do is just go out there. I mean, nothing wrong with being conservative. There's nothing wrong with that. Just getting through until you figure things out. Chosen, you got anything else for me, man?
Nah, man. If it ain't too early in the show, I would want to ask you, have a question for you personally, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I know you said it's gonna be a fight in the trenches. So give me your final score. What you thinking? Like what you thinking the final score end up being?
I was gonna do my prediction show on tomorrow, but I'll tell you, man.
Oh wait, no.
I'm about to say, look, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, look, I'll tell you on Facebook, all right? I'll message you on Facebook, man. I'll tell you at the end, all right?
All right, man. That's all I got, man. I'm about to finish enjoying the show.
Yeah, just because you're my guy, I'll tell you, you know what I'm saying, the messages, all right? But take it easy, man.
All right.
Take care, man. My guy Chosen, man. But definitely, man, we're going to do the predictions we're gonna do the predictions on tomorrow, folks. So be sure, man, that you check that out. We're going to be the prediction show tomorrow. State of the Saints podcast. Let's go ahead, man. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Got my big brother EJ in the building. Says, "What up, Who Dat Nation?" Thank you very much, EJ, man. Thank you for holding down in the chat. We got Dada says, "It's not good because some shows you can't tubs in long." I don't know what that exactly means, Dada. Brandon says, "TJ, do you think that Ryan Pace poor scouting is the reason the Saints haven't won the Super Bowl? Look at how he's destroying the Bears draft picks with poor selections." Look, be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. You know, Ryan Pace, he was part of that scout team, ended up getting promoted, being the GM of the Chicago Bears. Probably one of the best things that ever happened to the Saints because they were able to get Jeff Ireland. Like I said, you got to put this guy in the vote, hide this guy, because somebody's going to be calling up Jeff Ireland really, really soon. He's going to be somebody GM. And, oh, man, I can't believe I'm saying this. It might be the Atlanta Falcons. He might end up being the Atlanta Falcons GM. And that would be the day that it would be a sad day in New Orleans. But you can't keep a guy like Jeff Ireland on your roster without somebody making a phone call. Chemo says, "I feel this is the game D. Harris breaks out with at least 2 touchdowns with Sean's creativity due to Mike being out." Yeah, man, we got to count on Deontay Harris. And the one thing about Deontay I really like, he's one of those guys that can, he can make a play from anywhere. Like you can throw him a wide receiver screen, a guy can be zeroing in on him right in his face. He'll be able to make a guy miss. So he's one of those guys that what you call a playmaker, guy that can make a play. And I think that one of the things that he suffered with was his route running. It looks like he's a lot faster. It looks like he's better when it comes to running routes. So I'm definitely looking at him as being an X factor in this game offensively. I think he can do a whole lot of great things. And I think that Sean Payton is going to use him in a variety of ways. And also another guy a lot of people aren't talking about in the Who Dat Nation, that's Ty Montgomery. Ty Montgomery is a guy that can really step up and make plays, man. He's more like a poor man's Alvin Kamara, not no disrespect to him. Even if you're a poor man's Alvin Kamara, being mentioned as type of Alvin Kamara type player is still a plus. So you still have Ty Montgomery out there who can do some things as well. So all is not lost, Who Dat Nation. The Black and Gold Zone says it is, but we can survive and accomplish what we set out to do, and that's win. Yeah, you can. It's about game planning. It's about scheming. It's about understanding your opponent. And it's about going out there and not taking your opponent lightly. The Las Vegas Raiders, not much winning has been going on in the Raiders organization over the years. So these guys have something to prove. John Gruden, when he's going into about his second or third year with the team, you look at this young Raiders team. These guys play with a lot of pride. They're learning how to win together. They're learning how to play. They're learning in a new market. And they want to bring legitimacy to that market. So this is their first game inside of the Death Star, as they call it out there in Las Vegas. So they're going to want to show people that, man, this is not a fluke, man. We moved to a new town. We got a new identity. It's time for us to do some winning. So this is not going to be an easy game for the New Orleans Saints. And we all remember, the game that the New Orleans Saints had against the Raiders back in the day, that was in the Superdome, man, came down to the wire, and Derek Carr made a play to Michael Crabtree to win a game. So I think that the defense is a little bit better than that defense was that played the Raiders back in the day. But I still want to see the New Orleans Saints go out there and prove that they're the better team. Look, on paper, the Saints are a better team than the Las Vegas Raiders. And you can't be sitting around here playing around with teams that you're better than. And you definitely can't go out there be trying to showboat, lollygag, and pussyfoot around and be out here trying to showboat, okay? This is a game right here. You want to control the time of possession. You want to make sure that you're making plays. You want to make sure that you're extending drives. And most importantly, man, you just want to run the football a little bit more, okay? The Raiders don't have a defensive line that you have to hoop and holler about. You know what I'm saying? They definitely aren't one of those defensive lines that can get pressure on a quarterback on a consistent basis. You have a couple of guys out there, you know what I'm saying? Crosby, he does a really good job coming up off the edge. And you have a couple guys out there that can do, you know what I'm saying, do some things as well. But this is a very young Raiders team still trying to learn how to win. And Who Dat Davis also touched about the secondary. A very young secondary out there. So those guys are going to want to step up and really try to prove that, okay, man, we're going up against one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. We want to make sure that he remembers who we are. And then we also have another cornerback on the team of the Raiders who said that he has some bulletin board material, because of Drew Brees' comments. So he put that little nugget out there. So those guys are going to want to come out there and set the tone in this game. So the Saints better be ready. That's all I got to say. They better be ready. Derek says, TJ, you always telling us how you appreciate us, but you don't know that you are a breath of fresh air to us. And yes, you are a hell of a host. Man, I appreciate that, Derek. Thank you, man. But look, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have been able to interview such amazing people. And I definitely wouldn't be able to, exercise my gifts, and show them to the world without you all. So I really do appreciate that, man. I mean, the reason why this show is so successful right now and the reason why it's growing is because of you. I see people sharing these videos, just randomly. Like I'll be strolling down Twitter and I just see somebody sharing the State of the Saints podcast, or I see somebody sharing the audio podcast. That's humbling, man. Y'all just don't know. I never thought that we would be at this point, 3 years in to the State of the Saints podcast, where I've had the opportunity to interview Super Bowl champions and Saints beat writers and people work for the NFL Network. And that has all to do with all of the amazing people that encourage me, that inbox me, you all keep me going, man. And I appreciate that. I really do. So, I never want to be one of those guys that get to a certain point where I feel like I don't need people and people don't matter. Like, I feel like if when I get to that particular point, it's time for me to get out of it. But I don't think I'm ever going to get to that point. And I'm never going to stop telling you all I appreciate you, because I do. So thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for making this show what it is. Really, real talk. Justin says, we'll be all right. I like that type of optimism, Justin. We need that in the Who Dat Nation. Liddy says, our defense and special teams won the last game. The O was performing. The O wasn't performing, Liddy, or you were saying the O was performing? I assume you meant wasn't performing. They definitely wasn't. For the exception of that big play to Jared Cook, they didn't do nothing offensively, man. That offense looked horrible late in the second half. They didn't do anything at all. Offensive line, they were just getting whooped. Drew Brees couldn't get the ball down the field because he didn't have enough time. Alvin Kamara was getting stopped. But the thing about it is, you're not going to be going up against Devin White and Levante Davis every single week. So you're going to have the opportunity for Alvin Kamara to go out there and make some explosive plays, and Latavius Murray to be able to break some plays as well. It's not going to be like that every week. You're not going to go up against two of arguably the best young linebackers in all of football right now. So Kai says, no predictions. I just want the Saints to handle business and get the win. Simple as that. I agree with you. I don't care what the score is. And, I am going to give you all the score because, we have to do a prediction show, but I don't care what the score is. The object of football, the objective, is the fact that you have to have more points than your opponent. Okay, I don't care if it's 27-26. I don't care if it's 28-27. Nobody remembers how you won the game, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody remembers at the end. Maybe in a Super Bowl or something like that, because it's like one of those memorable games. But week 2 against the Las Vegas Raiders, around week 14, week 15, nobody's going to care what the score was. The only thing you're going to be asked is did the Saints win or did they lose? Okay, that's all that matters. So just win the game. In the words of Al Davis, ironically, just win, baby. Jared says, I'll say my prediction score for Sunday. Yeah, man, bring your prediction scores tomorrow. Tomorrow, State of the Saints podcast prediction show. We're probably going to kick off like around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 3 Central. So, no Saints game coming on. So I don't mind, cutting my NFL experience short. No game really intrigues me like a Saints game. I think what Tampa's playing Carolina, and then you have two teams that I wish would both lose, the Atlanta Falcons and the Dallas Cowboys. Like, can they both lose? That's what I would like. Just both of them lose. Brian says, what do you think the next Saints player to get signed by the team and get paid? that would be Ryan Ramczyk and that would be Marshawn Lattimore. Those are going to be the next two guys to get paid. I would pay Ryan Ramczyk first. Jeff Ireland was garbage when he was the Dolphins general manager. Dalton, but that's the thing, man. You know, you can look at somebody like, let's say, Bill Belichick, for example, right? You know what I'm saying? Bill Belichick, when he was the head coach, who is he? The head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He wasn't the Bill Belichick he was with the New England Patriots and being arguably the best coach that ever coached in the NFL. I mean, somebody like Bill Parcells. I mean, Bill Parcells was a winner in New York. You know what I'm saying? The king of New York. You know, he wasn't the same coach when he was around that thing, you know what I'm saying, being the president of the Miami Dolphins or coaching the Dallas Cowboys. So I guess it all depends, man. Like, and even Pete Carroll, you know, Pete Carroll, he used to coach the Patriots back in the day. Then he went to USC, you know, became a respectable coach, and then went to Seattle, and now look at him, you know, one of the best coaches in football. So sometimes it takes guys to stop certain places, okay? Stop at certain places, develop, you know, as a coach, as a GM, as a, you know what I'm saying, as a player. I mean, sometimes you're not going to get it the first time around. Sometimes it's going to take, you know, it's going to take some time. And with Jeff Ireland, maybe he learned from his mistakes. He learned from his mistakes and he realized what he did wrong and he corrected them. And now, to me, he's the best scout in football. And I think that 2017 class proves it, you know, and you cannot say, you know, over the last couple of years that the Saints haven't gotten players that have been have not contribute in some way, shape, or form to this team. So, I mean, despite the fact that Davenport, you know, he's been injured, when he's in a game, does not act like he can't be a factor and he doesn't, you know, show up and perform. So Jeff Ireland has done an outstanding job. And like I said, sometimes it just takes guys to fall on their face sometime in order for them to dust themselves off and be like, okay, what can I do to avoid slipping and falling again? So sometimes it's best for you to learn from those mistakes. The video is not working for me. I don't know. I don't know why. Only the chat. I'm not sure why. There's been times in Brees' career where he literally targeted every receiver we had. The Super Bowl year, we did the same. Yeah, I mean, that is true, you know. And I said that last night, you know, on the State of the Saints podcast when I was talking to Everett. I said, you know, he brought up a comment about Drew Brees having receivers and, you know, not being able to get them the ball. And my question was, when has that ever been an issue for Drew Brees? I mean, Drew Brees on Thanksgiving a couple years ago, I want to say 2018, he threw 4 touchdowns to 4 undrafted free agents. You know, like unbelievable. You know, so that's never been an issue. So why is it now that Drew Brees just need all this elite talent around him? You know, the only logical explanation that you have is the fact that, you know, he can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Look, it happens. You know what I'm saying? All the greats end up, you know, slowing down and they need help around them. You know, they need guys that can be able to step up. You know, you look at somebody like, you know, LeBron right now, you know, playing for the Lakers. You seen Anthony Davis. I know New Orleans Pelican fans don't really want to hear his name, but I mean, he had 37 points and what LeBron had about 14. So sometimes you need those guys, you know what I'm saying, to be able to step up when you can't be able to perform and go that extra mile like you once did. Drew Brees needs a team around him. He needs a guys defensively that can play stout defense, and he needs a running game, guys that can be that battering ram, and then he can go out there, you know, and you know, get the ball down the field, and you know, and when they need first downs to be able to convert that, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's still a great quarterback, but you just got to change the way he plays. Josh says, who that? Jerry says, should be good game on Sunday, ready to close out week 2 in Vegas. Yeah, me too. Chauncey says, we need to test to build on, to know just in case it's, indefinitive. Let me say this. Let me say this real quick, man. I think the Saints need a player to really step up that's outside of the people that we just know. You know, like it's time for somebody to answer the call. You know what I'm saying? It is time for somebody to answer the call and really go out there and do their best to make sure, you know what I'm saying, like Drew Brees can know that they can count on him. Like, I'm tired of looking at the same usual suspects all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm tired of seeing. That's what I'm tired of seeing. You know, let me see. Chauncey said, I just read that. To know just in case is indefinite. Look, I think the Saints just need to. I just think that the Saints just need to step it up. You know what I'm saying? Defensively, offensively, somebody out there outside of the usual suspects need to step up, in my opinion. Well, that's all I got to say. Chemo, you must school me on the ancient ways of food jacking. Freda says, true. I know nothing of such gift, big bruh. Let's see. Breeze had one All-Pro his entire Saints career, even though Marcus Colston was robbed out of being All-Pro multiple years. Yeah, I mean, but look, I can make an argument for all of this, okay? Marcus Colston played in an era where if you wasn't all up in the camera, all up in the videos, you know, doing touchdown celebrations, doing all these funny antics, then nobody really paid attention to you. He was in an era of the diva receiver. So he kind of flew under the radar in the 2000 aughts, as they call them, you know, from 2000 to 2010. He kind of, you know, fell under the radar. And then, you know what I'm saying, then the emergence of some of these other, you know, wide receivers in the NFC, they were still there throughout the career of Marcus Colston. And those guys stood out because, you know, they were characters. Even though he played in the same division as Steve Smith Sr., Steve Smith Sr. was more outgoing than Marcus Colston was. And I feel like the laid-back demeanor that he had caused him to get the attention that he deserved. You know, the thing about with Michael Thomas goes out there and performs, but Michael Thomas is also known for going at people on Twitter. You know, he don't talk noise on the field and stuff like that. You don't really hear him talking noise, but he goes at people's necks on social media. Social media, everybody has one. So Michael Thomas is able to go out there and put himself on the map by, you know, going at people like Josh Norman and talking about people like Xavier Rhodes and going back and forth with people like Stephon Diggs and you know, and Deontay Parker. So he kind of puts himself out there. Marcus Colston wasn't that guy. So I think that he suffered because of it. And as far as like with the all pros and stuff like that, like I said, the Saints were they were a committee. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't just a one-man show. They were a group. Drew Brees threw the ball to Devin Henderson. He threw the ball to Lance Moore. He threw the ball to Pierre Thomas. He threw the ball to so many other players. David Thomas, Jeremy Shockey. I mean, whoever was open, he threw the ball to him. So there wasn't a guy that really stood out besides Marcus Colston, but that's the power of the national media. The national media doesn't take the time to watch Saints games. They only go by the narrative that's being fed to them. And that narrative was that Drew Brees distributes the ball to 9 different players, or he distributes the ball to 10 different players. And Marcus Colston gets left in the rain because nobody ever just looked at him as, man, you know, he is Drew Brees' go-to guy, because during that time, the narrative was Drew Brees didn't have one. But I do agree that Marcus Colston should have been an all-pro, and he definitely should have been to the Pro Bowl a couple of times. Dalton says, what happened to Rankins last week? Rankins did his job, Dalton. You know, sometimes, Dalton, I think that we get things misconstrued because we look at people like Fletcher Cox and we look at people like Aaron Donald and we look at those guys being interior linemen, and those guys do something that's very unconventional of interior linemen, and that's get sacks, double-digit sacks. But interior linemen, it was very, very rare that you see an interior lineman get double-digit sacks. The only person back in the day that was getting that was somebody like Warren Sapp. And there's a reason why he was so renowned and well-known in the NFL, because at that particular time, interior linemen getting double-digit sacks, you were known as a freak of nature. So I think a lot of people don't understand that the interior lineman's main job is to stop the run. So when you look at the Saints not allowing a 100-yard rusher in 3 years, when you're looking at guys getting stopped at the line of scrimmage, you have to look at guys like Malcolm Brown, Sheldon Rankins, David Onyemata. Those are the reason why these guys can't get past the A-gap. You know, that's the reason why. So even though he didn't show up, you know, as far as getting sacks and stuff like that, those TFLs, that's very, very important, for putting the offense of the opposite team behind the 8 ball. Those are very, very important. The tackles for loss. And that's what he was doing, Dalton. He was getting those tackles for loss. He wasn't out there getting pressure on Tom Brady. He wasn't out there getting the quarterback hurries. But when it was time for him to do some dirty work, when it's time for him to get some tackles and to make sure that they didn't get any yards, up the seam, up the gap, especially his gap, he was doing an outstanding job with that. So I think that we need to understand, like, the interior lineman, the defensive tackle, is very, very it's very, very rare that you see him get double-digit sacks. That's what makes people like Aaron Donald and Fletcher Cox so special, because they are getting those double-digit sacks. Or Fletcher Cox, who may not get double-digit sacks, he get close to it. So you have to give those guys credit. But Sheldon Rankins did his job, and that's stopping the run, because that's the most important job of a defensive tackle. Just listen to what he's saying. Josh says Breeze targets everyone on the field. Whoever is open gets the ball. Yep. I mean, anybody that you get a ball to, anybody who's open, he's going to get a ball to him. I'm looking forward to the Saints going through these challenges. Thomas out possibly a few games. Davenport hurt as usual. All of these are obstacles, and we have to overcome. We will overcome in Super Bowl 55. I hope so. I hope that these things do come to pass. I think that it's early in the season, so it's best for those injuries to your top players to happen early in the season than to happen late. Like, can you imagine, like, week 14 or week 15 this happened to Michael Thomas? I mean, you don't want to see him out, but you definitely keep him out as long as you possibly can, in order for him to get healthy enough, in order for him to come back and be 100%. Because when you're dealing with an ankle injury, those injuries keep occurring. So you want to make sure that he's close to 100% as he can possibly be before he comes back. Lost respect for Shockey after he went on snitching. Yeah, I mean, he definitely was allegedly the whistleblower of that whole Bounty Gate scandal that took place with the New Orleans Saints back during the Super Bowl time. But, I mean, he is a Super Bowl champion with the New Orleans Saints. That's something that can't be replaced. And he was a really good tight end, man. I mean, the way that he operated, I mean, blowing the whistle and stuff like that, I mean, I have to agree with you. I think there was some sucker mentality that took place right there with him blowing the whistle on the Saints team, because, I mean, it wasn't no problem, when you was out there winning games with the team. But now all of a sudden, like, they don't want you anymore. It's a problem. So, but at the same time, man, I like Jeremy Shockey as a player. I think he was a really good player for the Giants, and he was a good player. He did some good things for the Saints. So, I mean, it's over with now. I mean, nothing can be done. You can't change it. And the Saints now, they're one of the best teams in the league. So I just think that, man, we just let that go. It's over. What are your keys to victory this Monday? Ray, I would discuss my keys to victory on the prediction show on tomorrow, man. I go into depth with that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to like snub you or anything like that, brother. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you I'm going to answer that question on tomorrow. So don't worry about it. The national media, we can't stand you Southern stir-fried Saints fan. National media, I believe you. I believe you, It's always like this stigma about people from the South. They think that people from the South are slow, uncool, not smart. I don't get it. And maybe they don't feel like the people from the South are worth their time. But, man, I don't know. I just feel like the national media just don't like teams like from the South. I guess they don't feel like they're that important. But the teams that they want you to care for don't do much. Kirk says, to what do you think about maybe using Taysom as a route runner? I think it would throw the Raiders defense completely off. Kirk, thank you very much. I appreciate that question. Look, I'm at a point where I feel like the Saints got enough pieces. They don't need to be using Taysom Hill all the time. Okay, I understood last year because you had people like Josh Hill who was in and out of the lineup. You had Jared Cook who was dealing with injuries and stuff like that, and the Saints were slowly trying to bring him back. So you use Taysom Hill as that tight end. look, you got Adam Troutman, a guy that a lot of people are considering being the next Rob Gronkowski or a young George Kittle. You got Jared Cook, who's a very good pass catcher and not afraid to go up and get it. You got Josh Hill, who is a X and a Y tight end, means he blocks also, and he can pass catch. So I don't understand why you don't use those guys. I mean, these guys are athletic. Adam Troutman is one of those guys that's athletic. You can use Taysom Hill in different ways. Maybe use him, on a play where you're trying to confuse people. I agree with that point, but to line him up consistently at that position, I feel like you will be taken away from some of those other guys that can, their primary role is to be a tight end. So I don't think the Saints need to go out there just using Taysom Hill or at the tight end position all willy-nilly, let him go out there and throw the ball down the field. Let him go out there and make some plays with his arm. Show the world that he's not just a guy that can just run real fast, but he can also be a quarterback as well. He can get the ball down the field. Because I think that in order for the Saints to get some explosive plays in 2020, it's going to have to be somebody like Jameis throwing the ball or Taysom throwing the ball down the field. Not to say that Drew can't get the ball down the field, but I'm talking about on a consistent basis, okay? That's what I'm talking about here. So I would like to see the Saints use Taysom in more of a quarterback role, more so than just using him, as that Swiss Army knife, TJ, I had an argument with my homeboy about Colston was better than Wes Welker. What are your thoughts? Right there, Gomez. I feel like there's two different type of wide receiver styles right there. Marcus Colston was more of a possession receiver. Wasn't that strong of a route runner. It was more so what Sean Payton used him at. The fact that he played tight end at Hofstra kind of helped him out a little bit. The fact that he was a wide receiver, he can go into the slot. He can, be able to be a matchup nightmare to some of those smaller nickel corners. So, but when you look at somebody like Wes Welker, he was faster than Marcus Colston. And I have to say he was a better route runner. Now, I mean, if you're talking about hands, I think they were probably neck and neck when it came to the hands. But I think that Marcus Colston was a little bit more physical than Wes Welker was. Wes Welker was more of a lunch pail type wide receiver, meaning, he'll get no, I'll take that back. Marcus Colston was more of a lunch pail wide receiver, guy that just goes to work, just shows up, and you throw him the ball, he going to catch it. Very little disregard for his body from time to time. And, a guy that just won his matchups. But with Wes Welker, he was more of a finesse wide receiver. He was one of those guys that can run the out routes. He was the guy that can run the quick slants. He was the guy that, that can catch the ball over the middle. And make some plays. So I feel like there's two different type of wide receivers we're talking about here. If you was to talk about somebody like, I don't know, Marcus Colston and Anquan Bolden, I would have to say that's kind of like on the same similar type skill set. Anquan Bolden was a possession type guy who would fight for extra yards, get the first down, kind of the same way with Marcus Colston. Wasn't the fastest person in the world, but you can count on him to make plays when you needed them. It's two different type of players. Like if you wanted to compare Wes Welker to somebody like Cooper Kupp, or, somebody like that, or even a Brandon Cooks, like that's the type of player that I look at when I see Wes Welker. I feel like those guys are two different type of wide receivers, but they both were good in my opinion. I think they both were winners. I think if you were to put both of those guys on the same team, I guarantee you'll have yourself a Super Bowl contender because of the offense. I already read that. TJ, this is hard to admit, but I have been embezzling funds from your bank account. The clerk thinks I'm you when I put a hat on. That's how I get away with it. Oh, man. Shouts out to my brother E. Jones, which I really don't think that's him. I'm just going out on a limb here. But if that's the case, man, I need my money back ASAP. Kirk says, to what do you think about maybe using Taysom as a route runner? Oh, I already read that one right there. Yeah, E. Jones says, damn. So that's where my Skrilla went. Chance says, losing Thomas will only make the team stronger because of the rest of the guys, including Drew, will have to gain confidence in his absence. Yeah, I mean, look, he's out. He's out. I mean, we have to come to grips with that, right? And it's nothing we can do. It's over. All the speculation. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? All that's been put to bed. It's time now for the Saints to try to muster up a game plan in order for them to get this victory. So it's going to have to be Drew Brees stepping up, counting on these guys to make plays, and these guys are going to have to really go out there and help Drew Brees out. Do you think Ty Montgomery will touch the field any? Absolutely. Raymond, I don't know if you just joined, but I talked about that earlier when I talked about my X factors. I said Ty Montgomery, who I feel like is a poor man's Alvin Kamara, a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield, run between the tackles, and also line up at wide receiver. I think he will be a factor in this game. Ty Montgomery is really good. E. Jones, you're going to have to teach me how you do it. Let's see. Tyra says, y'all play too much. Josh says, Saints fans are one of a kind. I agree with that. Tyra also said, the mysterious Tyra, would y'all judge me if you knew that I'm still scared to go to sleep without a teddy bear dog? Oh, man. I mean, the mysterious, I don't know if that's a roof or a piece of wood. I don't know what that is, but he's everybody tonight. House of Wigger says, yo, not Saints related, but I don't know if you heard, but JFU about to hire Deion Sanders as his next head coach. I'm the first person that actually broke that news. I was the first person. I've been telling you, go back, go look at my Twitter on State of Saints, okay? I've been telling everybody that Deion Sanders was coming to Jackson State since I say about the beginning of September, like September 3rd or something. I knew he was coming, man. I already knew, okay? I knew it. I've been telling everybody. People was ignoring me and all that kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden, I tell you, the press conference is going to take place on the 21st of September. The itinerary, I got the itinerary and everything, though. Like, for real, I got it all. So I knew what was going on. I knew it was happening, so, yeah. I tell you all the things about Deion Sanders. The fact that he graduated from Talladega College because it's a requirement in order for you to coach on a college level, you need a college degree. That's the reason why he went back to school. And the reason why they fired the head coach of Jackson State so abruptly was because they wanted Deion Sanders to have an opportunity to go out there and get his coaches that he wanted. So, yeah, I've been new this, man. New news to everybody, old news to me. Josh says, agree. Kevin says, hollering who that from Philly. You heard me? And shouts out to Philly. Shouts out to Kevin out there in Philly. The Truth Hurts says, I'll be sneaking Vaseline into the dome in case I get hemorrhoids for the chili dogs. It's a lifesaver. Dalton says, do you think Zach Bond will be on Monday? They're probably having a few packages, Dalton. I just feel like the Saints want to make sure that they just gradually bring him into the lineup. That's what I feel. I don't think they want to rush him out there. And would you rush him out there after the way those linebackers played last week? I wouldn't. So, yeah, he just asked me the same question twice. But, yeah, Dalton, I think he'll be in certain packages. Gomez says, Mississippi stand up. We going to welcome Deion. He fam. Shout out to your alma mater. Wish I could have went to J-State. Yeah, man, everybody can't, be a Tiger. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, but shouts out to Jackson State. Real talk, man. Some of the greatest moments of my life happened at that school, man. Some of the best relationships, friendships, all that, happened at Jackson State, man. I wouldn't trade my college experience for nothing. So I wish I was in college during this time, especially Deion Sanders being the coach so I could turn up. JSU, Dalton, and Lynch Street. Yeah, man. 1400 John R. Lynch Street. Yeah. 1400 John R. Lynch Street, man. Shouts out to it. Brandon says, Dalton said, well, I messed up. That's why I asked you twice. Okay, Dalton, man. I try to do spell check as well. I could see Ty playing kick returning and in the slot. He was a good receiver in college. I kind of feel like Callaway or Harris will get a touchdown this game. I think Harris will. I think Harris might turn up this game. It's time for Traquan Smith to step up. That's been the same topic for the last 3 years. I think we really have to count on him to step up this time. You know, usually it's just kind of like lip service. It sounds like the right thing to say, but he really going to have to step up. Will Deion Sanders' son come play for his father? Nah, I think he playing for Florida Atlantic, if I'm not mistaken. Man, them Falcons about to make life miserable for the Cowboys. I just like both of them. Yeah, me too, man. I wish both of them lose. I seen Takk McKinley. He was hopping on an airplane. He had a cowboy hat on, like cowboy shirt and some boots. You know what I'm saying? Walking on there talking about how about them Cowboys. Man, Takk McKinley, bruh. If you're going to talk noise, at least be good, man. You talking about a dude that's stealing money. They ain't even pick up his fifth-year option. So, yeah, Takk McKinley a fraud, man. He funny, but he not that good. Mississippi in the house, who that? Everyone seems to forget that we have Adam Troutman. I can see the Saints using a lot of 2 tight end sets against the Raiders. Yep, I can too. I'm glad you brought that up, Brandon. That's a very good point. And also you use tight end sets to run the football too, by the way. E. Jones says, will you loan me $50 tonight, brother? There's this porno. Man. I would leave that one alone right there. Josh says, Harris is a monster. He's quick. Yeah, quick and elusive, man. We can go ahead and wrap it up, man. It's Saturday night, man. Look, normally I don't do shows on Saturday night. That's the time with me and my wife. We watch television, man. Watch stuff on Showtime and Stars. We've been watching Ghost. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be coming on pretty soon down here. So I don't know if y'all watch Power Ghost. What was it? Power Book 2 Ghost. I've been watching that, man. So about to go, spend some quality time with my wife. Let's see. The Truth Hurt says, I live in North Las Vegas, and I won't let my Saints lose this Monday Night Football game. I hope not. Yeah, look out for us out there in Vegas. I'm going to read a few more. Got my boy Trev up in this thing. Says, I can't wait to see how the offense plays without Mike T. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think they can get through it. Ray says, who that from Phoenix, Arizona to Monroe, Louisiana? Man, shouts out to you, man, Phoenix, Arizona. Heard that's a beautiful place to visit, man. I would like to go out there to Phoenix, Arizona one day, check it out. Robert says, I feel we will do better blocking for Breeze since we have a complete, healthy O-line. Yeah, Cesar Ruiz should play in this game, so looking forward to seeing what the rookie first-round pick going to do. TJ's wife says, where are you? Get in the living room. I'm pretty sure she's saying that for real. Kevin says, who? Shouts out to True, you know what I'm saying? Master P back in the day, 4 or 5 Hummers versus Jag for the summer, you know what I'm saying? What you say? No, 4 or 5 Hummer purple Jag for the summer. Yeah, okay. Y'all remember that song? Hoo-dee-hoo, buckle up, knuckle loo. Buckle up, knuckle. Yeah, I remember that. Dalton says can't see Cesar Ruiz play on Monday. I think he's gonna play. So yeah, I would definitely count on him playing. But I want to say thank y'all very much for tuning in to the State of the Saints podcast, and be sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, and also on social media, you can follow me on Twitter at State of Saints, and make sure that you are following on the audio podcast of the State of the Saints, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And we are doing a competition right now, folks. So you can enter for a chance to win a State of the Saints podcast t-shirt. All you have to do is snapshot a picture of you following the State of the Saints podcast on a streaming app. It can't be YouTube, okay? I've seen a lot of people sending me pictures of them following or watching the show on YouTube. I appreciate that, but we're really trying to push the audio podcast. So if you can snapshot a picture you following on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to follow it, just go ahead and snapshot that, and you're going to enter for a chance to win a free State of the Saints podcast t-shirt. And we're going to reveal the winner on Monday night, right after the game where the Saints play the Raiders. And no, I won't be picking a person. The person that is going to be selecting a winner will be my wife. So whoever I decide is the winner will be coming from a drawing that, or a name that was pulled out of a hat by my wife. Okay. So I don't want to be biased. Okay. So thank y'all very much. Hope you have a good, safe morning, noon, or night, whenever you're watching this show. Look forward to speaking to some of you once again on tomorrow, Sunday, for the prediction show. Thank you. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?